Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. Spring is busting out all over. God, it's gorgeous outside. Hope you're ready for a wonderful spring and summer season. I'm your host, Tom McAuliffe. Welcome to Tom's Cabin, and let's talk about books, our passion for the written word. Lots going on. We just had the Books on the Bay Festival in beautiful Pensacola, the city of Five Flags, and we're going to be having some author interviews and some other fun stuff that we had at the festival. So be looking for that over the next couple weeks, and then we'll have our big wrap up report once I get all that stuff together and such like that. Also, of course, Tom's top 10 books every time, and author interviews, and jokes of the week, book promos, and everything like that. And of course, whatever you'd like to see, we'd love to hear from you. Book info at nextstopparadise.com. Well, without further ado, let's get underway, and away we go. Well, we're indeed fortunate. We have another author exhibitor from Books on the Bay 2026. Um, and she is an award-winning author, and we're excited to have her talk with us. Please welcome, if you will. Hello, Kat. How are you?
Good. How
Good, 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 good. Well, tell us a little bit about your books and what you're going to be showing at the show.
are you? Okay, I write under about four or five different names. I say five because I'm going to start doing kind of a more of a cozy, sweet series that takes place at a bed and breakfast. I have them all outlined, but I haven't started writing them yet. But I do everything from fantasy and sci-fi to YA, um, dystopian type things. I do small town romances. So each of my names gets a different genre. It just makes it easier to pigeonhole because I did find that some of it can get a little confusing for readers if they pick up something and say it's not in their wheelhouse to read. And they're like, oh, I don't really like sci-fi, but I like this person's paranormal thing. So I decided to split everything up. So it makes me look a little schizophrenic, but but it's fun. It's
And,
just a way to brand and pigeonhole. So,
and how many books have you published?
um, I used to be with small press, so I'm kind of in the process of repackaging some of those. But between that and what I've done as an independent author, um, I've done about 70.
Wow. Wow. I hate you.
Yeah.
I hate you. 70. I've only got 30. Well, I've got to get busy.
30's good.
Um,
30's nothing to sneeze at. That's
what
fantastic.
and where are you located? Where are you from?
Um, kind of a little bit of all over. Right now we're living in the Pensacola area. I'm over in Perdido,
Beautiful.
Perdido Bay, the bay side of it.
Yep.
But I grew up kind of in Panama City, having moved down there from Michigan when I was about 13, 12 or
Wow.
13. And then lived in New Jersey for about 23 years with my husband.
All right.
We went up there. He wanted to go to school up there, and we're supposed to be there 3 years for him to go to school. Ended up buying a house and getting friends and
This
doing all that. So it's a little bit harder to pull away once you've got the mortgage. So
this is gonna
we
blow
decided
your
to move back to Florida.
this is gonna blow your mind. I used to live on
Uh-huh.
Perdido Key when I was in the Navy. I used to live on Perdido Key,
Uh-huh.
and I'm from
Uh-huh.
Michigan. I'm from
Oh my
I'm,
God, that's so funny. What
I'm
part of
from
Michigan are you from?
Farmington Hills, outside
Ah,
Detroit.
yeah,
Outside
my
Detroit.
husband's from Detroit and
Wow.
I'm from Pontiac. I lived right on Williams Lake. That's where I grew up.
Wow. Small world. Small world.
I know. Oh,
You
it's
know, and
great. I love
and
it.
and Michigan really has a great thing for independent authors. They seem like
Oh,
a very
wow.
active community up there. I go up there every year. I'm going up there again this year for the Detroit Book Fest in July. Um,
Oh,
and
wow.
then-
That sounds
and
great.
and right before that, we have the Alpena Blues Festival. Ooh, big time fun. So which book of all of them, which book are you going to be featuring at the show?
Well, because I do write some stuff that is hotter. And this feels like more of a family oriented type gathering. And I'm always very conscious about that. Like my YA stuff is very, very tame. There might be violence in it, but nothing else. Um, so I'm going to have a couple of my YAs there. I have one that takes place in a small town where these kids find out that they're part of the Fae. They've all been adopted. So I'm going to have some of those there. I'll have my YA dystopian with alien invasion, and I'll have my more steampunky dragons. It's kind of like Dragon Wars, where they ride dragons, but it's like a steampunk age. And then I have another one set like 70 years ahead in that same world with the dragons, where it's space. They're starting to do space exploration, kind of like we were in the 1960s, and how the dragons have kind of become obsolete, and a power comes and knocks out the EMF field and drops them right back down into the steam age. So, and the aftermath of that. So, I'm going to have those kind of books there.
And
Little bit of fantasy type things.
what's your favorite genre?
It's hard to say because I love reading all different things and I love writing all different things. And I think that's why I am going in so many different directions, because I don't like to just settle on one thing, and I don't like to be like a one trick pony. Um, and I love my books, different books for different reasons. But it seems like no matter what I'm writing or what genre I'm in, I gotta have a mystery in it. I really, really,
Interesting.
really
Yeah.
love solving that mystery and having like external conflict and the big bad. I think as far as writing though, I think honestly I've had a harder time writing my small town romances, because there is no real big bad in there. It's more relationship related things, and I'm one of those type of people that if I have a problem with somebody, I just, let's sit down, let's discuss this, let's come up with a plan or an accord, or let's just agree to disagree. I'm just really one of those kind of people. And when it comes to writing something like that, you have to draw out the tension and things like that a little bit longer, and come up with other kind of conflicts. So if I don't have that external big bad, it's a little bit more difficult and challenging, but it's fun. I've kind of, let's see, how many of those have I written now? I've written a 4-book series that's small town, and I think I've really kind of grown as an author writing them, because I have kind of stretched my, writing muscle and trying to make those good books and not have to rely on all the other things that come along with mysteries and
Right.
violence and all that. So
Well,
it's
tell us a little bit about your writing process. Would you call yourself a pantser or a plotter? Do you plot everything
I
out
call
before
my
you write, or do
yeah, I
you
call
sit down at the
myself a
keyboard and
plotzer.
okay, yeah.
Because I do a little bit of each kind of thing. I will sit down and I will do what I call like a longhand outline to get the ideas, or I'll even put it in the computer because I write with Scrivener. So, I'll go in the little comments area or the notes area, and I'll like just write a outline about kind of like how I want the whole story to go. And other times I'll just sit down and start writing. So it really all depends on the book or what I want to accomplish. I did take a course a couple of years ago, which is kind of funny because I've been published for 20 years. So I just really wanted to see if there were some things I was missing out on, or things that I could streamline or do better to make my writing more just more on point, I guess, so I wasn't like wasting my time doing a lot of other things when I should be writing or getting things organized. So I took a course from Savannah Gilbo. It's an online course. She has a fantastic podcast. She's actually what is it? Story Grid book coach, trained book coach. So the course was really great, and all the paperwork from that, since I, started using that a little bit more to try to organize my thoughts. And I have this one book. It's the third in a series about the Jersey Pine Barrens and the Jersey Devil. And I have been having a horrible time. I've actually been working on the third book in that series for a few years and didn't like it. Every time I've tried to write it, I've not been happy with the results, which is kind of funny because the other two books in the series went pretty quickly. But this one I was really struggling with. So I took it and I used the outlines that she suggested, and just put it into the framework and had a light bulb moment. It's like, I am trying to make this book be everything to everybody. And I didn't need to do that. I didn't need to go you know, so far off the beaten path with it. So it really helped me like streamline some things in it. And it just all depends on, what the characters are telling me to do. And those were like sending me down the garden path. So I
All
had
right.
to kind of rein them in a little.
Let me ask you this. I always ask my author guests this question. If,
Mhm.
if there was one thing that you wish that readers knew about your work, what would it be?
That for every world I build, I wish I lived there. I want to write worlds that I would want to live in. The magic systems, the political systems, the scenery, the housing, the jobs that they have. Just all I want to live there. I want it to be immersive.
Are you going to feature any particular book at the Books on the Bay show?
Yeah, definitely my dragons. That was some extensive world building right there. Um, like I said, I like to do ones that all ages can pick up, and so I'm gonna have those there definitely. And probably my steampunk Alice in Wonderland take. That was really fun to write, and I got some really good feedback on that one, and sales have been pretty good on it. But it's fun.
And
It
and
kind of crosses over a few different storybooks into one story. But
and what's your latest book? What's your newest book?
the newest one I've had out was actually a Christmas story that was part of my small town romance. I write that under the name Kate Davison, and it's called Long Game. The series itself is kind of based on something when I grew up in Panama City, Florida. During the 80s, we would go to the local ball fields all the time, and they really had kind of a vigorous like local softball league. And I used to love that. It was like so much fun to go and watch everyone. So this series is it's set in Florida, but a different part of Florida. And it's kind of all about these friends that grew up together, and they're in their 30s now. But it's all around this softball league. So the last book in the series just came out in December, and it's called Long Game. And this one actually does kind of have a little bit of a mystery in it, because the hero is a cop, and he's a detective, and there's been some murders in their small town, and so he's got to solve them. And So
Are
I
all
had to go on that
are
again.
all your books available as ebooks and print books? And do you do audiobooks
Yes.
as well?
Um, Unfortunately, even though my husband is a voiceover actor, I haven't gotten to do the audiobooks yet, which is ironic considering that's pretty much all I listen to in my car when I'm driving. Um, but I want to kind of shift there, but they're all available in ebook and they are available, a lot of them in print,
And where can
but
they
not all
reach
of them.
you? Is there a website? Where can they reach you?
They can reach me at Mystic Cat 1965 at yahoo.com. That's my email address. That's also what will go through my Mystic Cat Press website. I'm on Facebook under Cat Mancos or Mystic Cat Readers. And let's see, I am on TikTok. I don't have that big of a presence on there because that takes time, and I work full time also in the healthcare industry, so
Wow.
I have to like plan my days off around writing.
Busy,
um
busy.
and where else can they get in touch with me? On on your interview.
Well, exactly. And do you know where you're going to be at the Books on the Bay show as far as where your booth will be?
I don't know where the booth will be, but I will be outside. So I'll have a tent. I'll have a big sign behind me that says Mystic Cat Press, and I'll be signing books under MK Mancos. I think that's the only name that I've got that I'm taking there at this time. So
Well,
just
Kat,
come and see me.
I sure will. And thank you so much for spending time with us. And we'll see you. It's what? It's just about almost a little over a month away at Books on the Bay
Yeah.
2026.
Yes. Thank you so much, Tom, for having me. I had fun. I look forward to seeing you there.
Okay, take care.
Take care. Bye bye.
From the sea, from the air, from the land, the latest in news and perspectives on books and music here at Tom's Cabin. They have announced the dates for 2026 for Author Nation and Reader Nation. Make it a point to come by next November in Las Vegas, Nevada. Well, this time around, we're talking about books about money, power, and the stories that define them. You ever notice something about money? We all want it. We all think about it. Some of us chase it. Some of us had it. Some of us want to have it. And a few people, just a few, completely lose themselves in it and the quest for money. And that is where the stories start to get interesting. Because books about money, they're almost never really about money. They're about power, they're about ambition, they're about ego, about excess, and sometimes about total collapse. Today, we're diving into a couple of absolute heavyweight books and stories that don't just show how money is made, but what it does to the people who make it. I'm going to talk about some nonfiction and fiction. And let's start with a name that almost feels larger than life: The Wolf of Wall Street. What a great title. It was a great film, great book. This isn't fiction, and that's the crazy part. This is a real story, a memoir, if you will, and at the center of it is Jordan Belfort, a guy who built a financial empire on high pressure sales, manipulation, and straight up fraud. And here's the thing: when you read this book or watch the film, no cheating, read the book first. Uh, it's easy to get caught up in the lifestyle, the yachts, the mansions, the cars, the parties that just keep escalating. It's like watching a rocket take off, but you already know it's going to explode. I think what makes Wolf of Wall Street so compelling isn't just the money, it's the momentum, the constant push for more and more and more, which was the hallmark of the 80s and 90s. More deals, more risk, more chaos, more. Belford isn't just chasing wealth, he's chasing the feeling that comes with it. And that's something a lot of people don't talk about. Because money, at a certain level, stops being about survival. It's about identity, it's about the quest. Who am I if I'm not winning? Who am I if I'm not the biggest guy in the room, the richest guy in the room, driving the nicest car, living in the nicest house? And that's where things start to crack. Now, let's shift gears a bit, because if The Wolf of Wall Street is loud, chaotic, and explosive, this next book is something different. Sharper, colder, more surgical. You've heard of it: The Bonfire of the Vanities. Written by Tom Wolfe, one of my favorite authors. This one takes us into the world of 1980s New York, Wall Street, high society, media, politics, all colliding in one beautifully constructed train wreck. At the center of it all is Sherman McCoy, a bond trader and a master of the universe, a guy who thinks he has everything under control until he doesn't. And what Wolf does so brilliantly here is show how fragile that world really is. Because Sherman isn't taken down by some massive financial collapse, he's taken down by a simple moment, a mistake, a single event that spirals completely out of control, and suddenly the money can't and doesn't protect him. The status doesn't protect him. The system he thought he controlled, it turns out it controls him. And that's the thread that connects both of these books: control, or more accurately, the illusion of control. Because when you look at these stories side by side, you start to see a pattern. Money gives you access, it gives you influence, it gives you options. It doesn't really give you freedom. It gives you the illusion of freedom, but it also amplifies everything else: your strengths, your weaknesses, your blind spots. And if you're not careful, it can amplify your downfall. What I love about these two books in particular, and books like them, is that they pull back a curtain. They show you what's really happening behind the scenes. And great writers, they write in a way to let you know what's going on inside the characters' heads. They show you what's really happening behind the scenes. Not the Instagram version, not the highlight reel, the real thing with real feelings. The deals that shouldn't have happened, the risks nobody talks about, the decisions made at 2 in the morning that change everything. Because here's the truth: money stories are human stories. They're about people trying to climb higher than they ever have before. And sometimes they climb so high, there's nowhere left to go but down. You don't have to be on Wall Street to understand these stories. You don't have to run a hedge fund or have a corner office or a private jet. All you need is a little ambition. All you need is that voice in your head that says, I can do more, I can be more, I can build something bigger. That's the same drive that fuels these characters. The difference is, how far is one willing to go? What are you willing to risk? And here's where it gets interesting. Both of these books, The Wolf of Wall Street and The Bonfire of the Vanities, they're not anti-money. They're not saying that wealth is bad. What they're saying is unchecked ambition can be dangerous. When there's no accountability, when there's no grounding, when the only goal is more, that's when things start to fall apart. And if you're watching this show, if you're a reader, a thinker, somebody who wants to build something, these books aren't just entertainment. They're cautionary tales. They're case studies. They're a look at what happens when success becomes faster than wisdom. And let me say that again because it matters. Success faster than wisdom. That's the formula you see over and over and over again. Belford had the system, but not the discipline. Sherman McCoy had the position, but not the awareness. And when these things go wrong, they didn't have the foundation to hold it all together. But let's talk about a couple of other books. Some other books about moolah and making sure that 2 plus 2 equal 4. They sign in both fiction and nonfiction. Let's talk about one of my favorite books, The Big Short. The Big Short Inside the Doomsday Machine by Michael Lewis. By the way, he also wrote one of my favorite movies, The Blind Side. It's a #1 New York Times bestseller, and Lewis creates a fresh, character-driven narrative brimming with indignation, dark humor, and a fitting sequel to his #1 bestseller, Liar's Poker. I didn't read that. I'll have to take a look at that. Out of a handful of unlikely, really unlikely heroes, Lewis fashions a story as compelling and unusual as any of his earlier bestsellers. Check it out. The Big Short, also made into a great motion picture. Moving forward in nonfiction, how about Financial Literacy for Young Adults Simplified by Rahman Keene? It's basically the basics of finance. It's not difficult to be financially secure or independent. You just need a little bit of self-discipline and some knowledge. Even Warren Buffett says that you don't have to be a genius to build wealth. Even Warren Buffett says that you don't have to be a genius to build wealth. He said, there seems to be some perverse human characteristic that likes to make easy things difficult, unquote. How true. If you have the right tools and information, you can sail through economic downturns and rising inflation, and you won't even panic if you lose your day job. Check out Financial Literacy for Young Adults by Rahman Keene. This next book was one of the darkest books and movies I've seen in a long time. American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. The quintessential book and subsequent movie about greed in the 1990s. American Psycho is a 1991 novel by Bret Ellis and became a 2000 black comedy horror film directed by Mary Herron, starring Christian Bale as Patrick Bateman, a New York City investment banker who leads a double life as a serial killer who happens to love Huey Lewis and the news. It is a disturbing film, and I don't want to give too much away, but you definitely need to look at it. One of the favorite scenes is when all of these hedge fund and finance types are gathered around a conference table, and they all start comparing their business cards. the raised lettering, the gold fleece, yeah.